So we conducted this mapping exercise or questionnaire survey in the framework of the Workpris project. It was done in January and February 2025 in 17 countries, as you can see listed in the screen. We targeted both third sector organizations and prison services. And so this is not a representative survey in any ways. So our goal was to better explore what's existing in certain countries in Europe and also to create a ground for professionals for discussions coming from both fields within the project and beyond what we are doing at our organizations, including in this project. So I will give the floor to Momina. Yes.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Momina and I'm one of the people from Richtungswechsel who carried out the survey and analyzed it. So I wanted to talk a little bit first about the objectives for the survey. We want to know what's happening with third sector organizations and how they are engaging with prisons across Europe. So we divided our questions in two types of forms. First, we had our own thoughts, so that was helpful in building a quantitative analysis. We wanted to know what is happening in terms of existing cooperation between TSOs and prisons. Is it regulated? What kind of arrangements are there? Is it like a bylaw, policy, a legal agreement, or government regulation? What are some areas of improvements, difficulties, and success? We wanted to know where can TSOs step up? Where can they expand their operations? What services could be further provided to prison staff? But on the other hand, we also wanted to hear what we are not thinking about. So what are some thoughts that we don't have, but perhaps the experts can pitch in? So that's where our qualitative analysis came in. We asked a lot of open-ended questions to experts, and experts told us about the support that they think is needed by both TSOs and prisons, what kind of services are currently being provided, and how do they manage difficulties? What are their collaborations like, and what improvements do they think are valuable for them? Next slide. Yeah. So before I move into the survey itself, I do want to give a small reservation. This survey is not really a representative piece of research. It's just a mapping exercise for us to know what is going on, what are the opinions and impressions of professionals who are working in both third sector organizations, but also in prisons across Europe. The reason why I say this is because there are significant variations in the number of respondents from like 17 different countries that we have responses from. So it's not very fruitful in such a variable sample to say that this is a representative piece of research. But if anyone wants to look at it as a mapping exercise to see what's really going on, get an impression of what experts are saying, it's very useful. So in a way, it really worked for us. I'll tell you guys a little bit about our respondents. We had an overwhelming majority of people from third sector organizations that were responding, so that's 76% people. But then prison staff were also not so negligible. We had 25%, 24% responses from prison staff. The kind of services that are being provided are mostly vocational and educational. We also have reintegration services and advocacy services being provided. So these are like most chunk of people providing services are working on these kinds of things. Now, in terms of room for improvement, I've kind of like amalgamated both the qualitative and quantitative responses. What we thought would be areas where room for improvement existed was it turned out correctly that there is a big room for stronger relationships with TSO staff. There is a need for regular meetings and briefings for staff, staff training for TSO services and engagement. People are looking for more long-term partnerships and they want to somehow encourage that. But when we asked the experts what additionally they think is an area that we could improve on, they were very, very persistent on communication. So a lot of responses on improved and better communication, more funding for resocialization programs. And they're asking for things like better condition in prisons in terms of equipment, physical or regulatory, and most importantly, formal contracts, more formalized way of not only establishing engagement, but governing long-term engagement. So it seems like communication is quite important here, both in terms of our survey and also in terms of what people said that they would like to see. As for services needed, I think we can see that we need a lot of services. We have requirements for things like addiction and substance abuse support. People are looking for more educational programs, vocational trainings, and family and relationship supports for both incarcerated people. But in terms of what people think is, what respondents thought is pertinent, but it wasn't mentioned in the survey, is things like legal advice for people. Educational and vocational offers, yes, we covered that, but also some activities where people can go outside of the prison and have engagements in the prison grounds. Importantly, I think soft skills for, I imagine, reintegration programs or building a life after prison. So those were some of the things that were really highlighted by people. In terms of skills and competencies, most frequently highlighted ones seem to be problem solving and critical thinking. Now, I'm talking particularly about third sector organization staff members. What do I, as a member of such an organization, need to be competent at in order to collaborate with the prison? I need to have really good problem solving and critical thinking skills. I should be able to do effective communication, boundary setting, and very, very importantly, conflict resolution and de-escalation. And Gabby thought this was a very nice thing, and this was an interesting thing that someone said in the survey. So she added that this quote to the slide, which is, be more open to change and focus on solutions rather than problems. So it's more like an attitude that one should have when you're working with this. Yeah. Some common difficulties, I think these are well anticipated, well expected. So they have security and access issues, bureaucratic and administrative challenges, communication and coordinating issues. So I think communication we end up hearing quite a lot again and again. Negative aspects seem to be that building partnership is slow. It requires a lot of resources and it takes a lot of time to build trust and overcome bureaucratic hurdles. And what they would like to see is easier access. They want to see better communication. They would like to have better cooperation with prison staff. I think with that, I'll pitch back to Gabby. It was really nice speaking to all of you.
Thank you, Momina. So we also looked at what backgrounds, fields of expertise TSO respondents are coming from, and also what jobs respondents are fulfilling in prison services. So that gives a better context for the answers. So most respondents concerning the TSOs came from mental health, education, health support, family support. Considering the prison service respondents, most people had educator, social worker, or education organizer backgrounds. In terms of, we asked what works well, what positive experience they had, and also what are the negative sides of cooperations. Trust seemed to be the key word. So when there is trust maintained typically in longer term cooperations, that enhances these relationships and collaborations a lot. On the other side, if there is no trust, it's really a great hurdle with the engagement. From the answers, it seemed like that if there are long-term cooperation, then different sector professionals could cooperate much better. And also there are a lot of systemic problems and shortcomings that need to be addressed in order to collaborate better. Also, we were asking about existing trainings and professional development. One of the topics that came up often was that due to the high fluctuation, existing knowledges in prison services are often lost. So the transfer knowledge is not really working quite well. Also on the positive side, if there are tailored trainings for these situations and people working in prisons, then also the commitment is higher. But then again, organizations can provide better services. So as conclusion, we had a mix of different perspectives on collaboration coming from professionals working both for third sector organizations and prison services as well. Some of the respondents expressed their frustration over systemic resistances to change. Others highlighted positive impact, mostly related to individual cooperation with professionals from both sides. And there was a repeated emphasis for structured cooperation framework and training. And this is, I think, also feeds back to what Sarah was saying and also what we are trying to achieve within this project. So this survey is mostly a basis for further discussions within the project frame, but also it will serve as a basis for other projects and other activities that we will do as individual organizations in this team. Thank you.